gun owner or because you support the NRA, I felt like when I interviewed Chris Wallace, like somehow, wait, don't friggin' look at me about the Parkland shooting. This is not my fault, okay? Get off my back. Gotcha? But that's what the left is doing. Oh, you support gun rights. You must be responsible for the Parkland High School shooting. It's like, no, you got that wrong. Get a little tired of being looked at sideways by the media because I happen to be a gun owner or support gun rights, and somehow this is my fault. Like, I'm not unwilling to look at solutions. Or even worse, it's like, oh, you voted for President Trump, you must be in support of the Parkland High School shooting.
Right.
I mean, that's the way the left, these lunatics are acting right now. Like somehow anybody who supports the Second Amendment, oh, this is, I mean, I even heard people calling for the repeal of it after all this. It's like, you got to be kidding me. And yeah, I was frustrated with, you know, like somehow it's my responsibility to remove the threat of a high school shooting from the midst of the poor people out there who are afraid of it, which, of course, everybody should be. But come on. Don't look at me. I'm more than happy to talk about solutions to it and talk about the mental illness factors, and which, of course, isn't being talked about. These guys didn't waste a second. They went right to the gun rights issue. They have no shame. And you know what? The so-called victims down there in Parkland have no shame either. This interview with this teacher, Alicia Blonde, was stomach-turning, and I don't care whether she knew the people who died or not. That doesn't give her, in my opinion, more credibility than anybody else. I'm sorry. Call me callous. Call me heartless, whatever. But just because you're emotional doesn't mean that your viewpoint holds any credibility whatsoever. And to hear her blather on in the fashion that she blathered on was embarrassing. And of course, dutifully, Shepard Smith and Fox News just allow her to run on and on and on because they agree. Shepard Smith agrees with her. Had she gone on there and said this is not about, how soon do you think Shepard Smith would have popped in had she started to say, you know, this isn't about gun rights. This is about trying to change our culture. This is about trying to get people to be more attentive to the needs of people who are clearly mentally ill. This is about, you know, this. How soon do you think she'd be talking before Shepard Smith went in and talked about the hard brake and the computer that was about to shut him down? But he just let her go on and on and on, and she did.
People cloak themselves in the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. But our founding fathers didn't have this in mind. Our founding fathers didn't believe that somebody could walk into a school and knock off a rounds up and kill 17 people in a matter of seconds and injure 14 others, 3 of which are still fighting for their lives. I don't think that was the idea of our founding fathers. You know, it seems to me like we're more worried in this country about whether or not athletes take a knee at a sporting event.
Pause it for a second. Who do you think she's talking about there? And she sounds like she's, I don't care. You can make your voice quiver all you want. It doesn't make you more correct. And she doesn't have any idea. She has no clue what the founding fathers intended. No clue at all. She thinks she knows, but she doesn't have a clue. And I guarantee you, all you have to do is read the words of the Second Amendment. That's what the founding fathers intended. Read the words of the Second Amendment. The founding fathers intended what's in the Second Amendment. That's pretty much it. It's not left up to interpretation by somebody who happens to be emotional.
Than whether or not we protect our kids in a school. These kids who are ready to turn in their homework instead of running down the hallways for their life. We need to do something as a society. We need to do something as American people to protect our kids. This doesn't just happen in Stoneman Douglas, and with all due respect to your station, you guys will be here today, tomorrow, and maybe next week. But by the following week, it'll start tapering off. And you won't be here anymore. And it'll just be a passing memory. Just like Columbine is a passing memory, Sandy Hook is a passing memory, the Vegas shooting is a passing memory, and everybody goes about their life and nothing gets done. And we need to do something. We need to protect our students. This is our future. Those kids that died were bright kids. Kids that could make a difference down the road. Kids that might be my doctors when I get old and need help. And now those kids are gone. Those parents' lives will never be the same. Their friends' lives will never be the same. Their teachers, the faculty, the administration at the school, we are all changed by this.
So I'm listening to this, I'm thinking there's going to be, Trump's name is going to come up soon. And Shepard Smith is praying to his personal Jesus that it's coming. So he's letting her go. And I understand she makes some good points, obviously, about how we need to be concerned about the victims, and it's a horrible tragedy. I get that part of it. It's interesting how nobody cares when 250 people are offed, 300 people in Chicago on the streets. That 10 people die on a weekend in Chicago, but seemingly there's not a lot of emotion attached to that. I don't know why, but anyway, let's go.
This event. How many more of these events do we have to have before something is done? Before these politicians
here we go.
Stop refusing to cross the aisle and do something to protect their citizens. I ask you that question. How many more of these events do we have to have before something gets done?
The president says he wants to do something meaningful. What would you, as a survivor,
pause it for a second. I'm sorry. It didn't come naturally. It wasn't coming, so Shepard Smith wanted to make sure it did. Here you go.
Ask of him, should he visit as he says he will?
To be quite honest, I don't really care that the president visits. Because the president is one that believes that we should have the right to bear arms.
Yeah, so shame on him.
Right.
Now, she did say, in support of her, in defense of her, she did say that she said he is our president. So I didn't, she said he is our president, but, well, you let her say it. I'll let her go here.
Okay, that it's okay for somebody to have a weapon that could kill 40 or 50 people in a matter of seconds. Okay, so I don't agree with my president, with all due respect. He's my president.
I'm sorry, keep going.
He was elected by the people, but I disagree with my president. I tell you right here,
so she was respectful in that sense, and I respect her for that, for being that way. But again, this isn't about. And then Trump visited, and of course, you know what happened in the ensuing, he was attacked, of course. Phone calls are welcome.
Allman in the morning. Common Sense Radio.
969-9797, 866-455-9797. I just thought it was. And they even had one kid up there who decided to take the Trump train, too, on this one. It's just highly inappropriate and also, in the end, not a solution.